There's $1.2 billion of vacant home inventory as we go into winter. This is why I think we could see a foreclosure wave coming into 2023. Welcome to the Good News Real Estate channel, where we talk about current, honest, real events going on in the real estate market, as well as in the greater state of Idaho. Today, we're gonna look at three things. We're gonna take a deep dive into the builder inventory. We're gonna look at what does this mean for you as a local buyer or seller, or somebody who's relocating to the area. I'm gonna give you my predictions on what we're gonna see at the beginning of 2023 and why. First up, we're gonna look at this article from National Association of Homebuilders. According to them, this article was written on November 16th, that home builder confidence has declined for the 11th consecutive month as the housing market weakens. It says that this is the lowest confidence reading that home builders have had since June of 2012. One thing that we can see according to this graph is that the home builder starts have declined substantially from the beginning of 2022 to now. And that makes sense, right? We had the peak of the market in May, and we've had a continuum of a downward trend as far as month-over-month home prices here in our local market from builders in our market that have had lower confidence. Give you an example, CBH, they are the biggest builder, one of the biggest builders here in Idaho, especially here in the Treasure Valley, which is the greater Boise area. They had to lay off, some people said up to half of their staff. According to Corey Barton, the CEO, the owner of Corey Barton Homes, he said they didn't lay off quite as half, and it was kind of hard for him to lay off. The second one that we've heard, again, this is secondhand, there was a builder that they had to lay off all of their construction crews, and they're just trying to get rid of their current inventory. And then the third builder that I heard, again, this is secondhand from a guy who was friends with this builder. He was sharing with me that currently, he builds all his houses in cash. He doesn't finance it. Now, that's very unusual, but according to this guy, this builder builds all house cashes. But out of his 10 homes that are on the market, 10, 11 homes that are on the market, almost all of them are being sold at a loss right now. So even though he owns them cash, he's selling them for less than what he has into it. And he's just trying to unload this inventory. Okay, so hold on, wait. Quick disclaimer. We work with these builders. We currently have a client that's buying a house from one of these builders. So we work with them. We like to work with them. We understand like this is a hard time, but we also want to bring you the facts. I believe that there's middle ground where we can still work with them, but we also want you to be prepared if you do decide to work with one of these builders. My predictions is going into 2023, we are going to see more foreclosures coming on the market. One, the credit card debt has been in the highest it's been since 2008. Things are tight. Inflation is high. We haven't curbed inflation. So to me, there's no reason for the Fed to flip and start cutting interest rates, but instead raising them. If developers are not selling their lots, then they will stop that construction. Our market, a lot of it, 20% of it is driven by construction, lenders, and realtors. Right now, realtors are struggling, lenders are struggling. The developers stop doing that, then we're going to see a halt to construction really fast. It's not something that I wish upon anybody that we would go into these things. There's signs that are showing that we are headed that direction. Our foot traffic, according to the National Association of Realtors, our foot traffic on homes is down 22% year over year. So we're seeing demand continually decline. American savings accounts are getting depleted. That's why credit cards are going up. Me and our real estate brokerage, we're meeting and we're saying, okay, where can we cut down expenses because it's costing more to do things than what it did at the beginning of the year. And wages are not keeping up with inflation. Inflation is continually rising, which is causing the depletion of savings, which is causing the rising rates. Unfortunately, it's hurting us all. Another thing, just last week, we were looking at houses, trying to just gather some data, and we saw that some homes were being listed for less than what they were bought for a year ago. That doesn't include their closing costs. This was just strictly their list price. Open Door right now is selling homes for way less than what they bought it for. So we're seeing homes being worth less than what they bought for if somebody bought a year ago. And keep in mind, I bought a house last year. We bought a rental last year. So I'm not saying like, oh, you're horrible for buying a house back then because we didn't know. But I am saying if you did buy a house last year, there's a chance that you could be upside down in that house. Because I wanted to bring up this chart. So this chart is from the from what we call Land Pro data. And this particular graph is for the city of Nampa. Nampa is right by Boise. And I just want it because there's some telling things here. So when you're looking at this graph, the gray line is lots recorded. The blue line is building permits. So that means a builder went and they pulled the building permit to start the foundation and going vertical. Lots recorded, that means that it's a ready buildable lot, ready to go. And then new home transfer. So that means the builder has finished the house and they've transferred it over. Something I just want to point out real quick, and then we're going to go on and I'm going to show you this graph of the top 25 builders, how much inventory they have, what kind of dollar amount of that market share of the 1.2 billion is. So make sure you stick to the end. So this only goes to June of 2022. So June of 2022, we can see that there was only 67 home transfers in the city of Nampa, according to this graph. There's about 90 building permits pulled, and there was about 42 lots recorded. If we were to jump back all the way to June of 2021, you would see that there was 140 homes transferred from the builder to the new homeowner. And there was about 103 building permits pulled and then about 51 lots recorded. The thing that stands out to me the most here is that the new home transfers, that they're down more than 50% year over year in June. And then in this graph right here, again, this is from Land Pro Data, you'll see right here, they pulled this stuff from the city. Currently, right now, sitting in Boise, the city of Boise, there's 1,385 buildable vacant lots that aren't moving. And there's only 482 building permits that are pulled. Something I think that's important that we pull out of here and that we talk about is keep in mind the developer develops the land. Sometimes there's a developer builder. If the developer is not selling those lots, most of the time they develop on a commercial loan. They then sell it to a builder who builds on a commercial loan or builds cash. So if these builders are sitting on lots and they're not being able to move them, selling them to builders, and these builders are sitting on inventory and they're not being able to move it, it's going to be a domino effect. The developers back in 2007, 2008, developers in mid-project would say, stop, we're done. Boom, the construction company would be off of it. City of Star, which is next to Eagle, there's 880 buildable lots and 462 permits that were pulled year to date. What's fascinating about this to me is there is essentially they're building about half the amount of lots that are being built currently. And we'll just have to keep watching that to see if that building permits get pulled increases and the vacant buildable lots decrease or increase. We took the top 25 builders that had the most market share of that $1.2 billion. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do subscribe or give us that thumbs up. Starting number five, Biltmore is a local builder. They have about 34 homes currently on the market at the time of this video. Out of those 34 homes, they have about $24.8 million worth of inventory on the market. The highest list price they have is $1.6 million. To the lowest list price, they have $550, but their average days on market is 111 days. The fourth that came in fourth, Boise Hunter Homes. Boise Hunter Homes has 32 homes on the market, $37 million worth of inventory listed. The highest price point is $2 million. The lowest price point is $615, and days on market is 65. Number three, Hubble Home. They have 81 units on the market, $33.8 million of inventory. The highest list price is $840 with the lowest list price of $275. But their average days on market is up by 137 days. Toll Brothers is a national builder that's building here on our market. They currently have 88 homes on the market, $53 million worth of inventory. The highest list price is $941,000 all the way down to $400,000. Days on market is 133. Coming in at number one, CBH has 515 homes on the market. Yes, I said that right. 515 homes on the market with $214 million. Yes, $214 million worth of inventory that's listed. Their highest list price is $610,000. The lowest list price is $319,000, and their average days on market is 113. Why does this matter? That's the biggest thing. Why does this matter to you if you're local, thinking about buying or selling, or even relocating to this area? When we're working with a buyer, we got to look at, okay, what kind of motivation do they potentially have? Do they have to sell? And we can see, okay, if they have all of this inventory, let's say they didn't build in cash and they built leveraging their thing. And if they have 28 units, $24 million worth of inventory on the market, then they may have to be creative. They might have to sell. Keep in mind, on a video we did just a couple weeks ago, the listing agent said, seller is motivated, bring us an offer. This is not me making this up. This is a seller putting this on a new build, a brand new construction house, saying, the seller's motivated, bring us an offer. We're going to give you more money. And if you've been on our channel before, you hear us constantly say, builder offering more money to buyer's agents, or even more money to buyers to help them buy down their interest rate. What I would encourage you to do, if you are buying in an area that was booming like Boise, is when you go and you see this new construction house, or maybe it's a vacant house, you need to ask your agent to say, hey, how many other homes do they have on the market? Do they have 10 other homes? Do they have 20 other homes? Do they have maybe 10 homes on the market, but 20 homes in foundation going up to framing, and they just haven't been put on the market yet? The reason why that's important is because depending on how many units they have on the market could depend on how much they would be willing to give in a price reduction, or maybe give you seller closing costs. We got a family, they just relocated to our area due to a job, and their mortgage is going to be cheaper than their rent, so they decided to buy. The house that we got under contract for is $100,000 less than what the house was originally listed for, plus they got money to buy down their interest rate, extra things thrown in the house like blinds. And so these are things that you can use if you are looking at buying a new construction house. And what does this mean as a seller? What this means as a seller is you got to keep in mind, these home builders, if they have to move these homes, they're going to continue to decrease home prices. Like I said earlier, one builder has decreased 20% since their original list date because they have to get this inventory moved. So you don't want to be competing against a new construction home and chasing the market down as these builders are chasing the market down. Now, if the Fed does a U-turn and they drop interest rates, but I don't think they're going to, but if they do, then the market's probably going to rally again, because it all comes down to affordability. Foreclosure is not something that we want to see anybody go through, but sometimes it's inevitable. And if you are going through that, or you know somebody who needs help, we have resources that we can provide. Sometimes we can even help somebody sell their house prior to going through the foreclosure process. It's not always guaranteed, but we want to be a resource, whether that's putting you with the right people. We're not financial advisors. We don't have a crystal ball. All these things, keep in mind, we don't have these things. So, but we do want to help. We do believe that it's our job to educate and help when the time is necessary. So